Have you heard the one about the farmer who became a DJ after his crops failed?
I have not heard that one.
He had a lot of sick beats.
Oh.
Viva Physical Media, episode 91.
91, baby. It's a brand new day.
91, under the gun.
Under the gun.
Yeah.
91. Let's have some fun.
So
all right.
We're in the new period of Viva.
We're in the new groove.
The shorter episodes.
We just saw you guys last week.
I know.
Wasn't that great?
We're back already.
We're back.
You're gonna get your dog movie this week. You're gonna get a cool segment of missing pieces, and you're gonna get a couple more recommendations.
Yeah.
But first, we got to talk about Sustain Our Scarecrow.
Sustain Our Scarecrow. You may have remembered SOS.
SOS, Save Our Scarecrow.
Save Our Scarecrow. That was the scary stuff. But luckily, I mean, we've been, for the most part, and for the immediate future,
saved. Not permanently, but.
So we're changing the language around that. Instead of Save Our Scarecrow, we are moving toward Sustain Our Scarecrow. That is our main goal, because that's ultimately what we want to do, is we want to sustain the momentum that we have, sustain our permanence in the community and in this building. We have already raised so much money thanks to you guys. We've raised, out of our 1.8 million goal, we've raised 1.2 million,
That's insane.
Is so much money, and it hasn't even been a year yet.
We are so proud of all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for showing us how much Scarecrow means to you and how much it means to the community. Literally would not be here without you.
Yeah.
So what that money has gone towards is we get to renew our lease for 2026.
Yeah.
And we're working on some moving parts with that. We hired a new executive director.
Jonathan, hi Jonathan, if you're watching.
Hello.
Maybe he'll come on the show. Should he come on the show?
He should, I do believe so.
Yeah.
We've hired a new development director.
Hi Tyler, if you're watching.
Hello. We have promoted Emalie.
Oh, Emalie, I love
Emalie. And
our friend Megan.
And Megan's been promoted too. So if you're like, wow, social media sure has been snazzy lately.
It's been a lot better lately, because I used to do it and I suck at it.
You can thank Megan for that one. We do still have a long way to go, because although 1.2 million is a shit ton of money, and it sounds like to your ear, it sounds like it's close to 1.8 million. That's still $600,000.
Still a lot of money.
Which is a fake amount of money, but it is actually a real amount of money, because we still need to make it.
And you can't fake it till you make it. You have to just make it.
We're asking for everyone who supports us, continue their support, to continue spreading the word and continue donating in order to sustain our Scarecrow, and because we are still working towards that 1.8 million goal.
And you know what? If you can't donate, just come in, rent a movie, get a membership.
Tell us how much you like us.
Tell your friends.
You know.
Yeah.
It's all about spreading the word, making this community action really happen, and being a part of this, because you guys are all a part of this, even if you're only renting movies every once in a while or tuning into the show.
If you are able to come into the store and rent a movie, and you're a Scarecrow account holder, if you rent one movie a month, all the time, consistently one movie a month, if everybody did that, that would sustain us. You know what I mean?
Honestly, it's a win-win.
It's a win-win.
Unless you're renting something really bad.
Yeah, even then.
But at the same time, that's an experience.
You don't know until you try.
That's a life experience.
You don't know until you try.
The next $85K that we are raising is going toward improving our website.
Our very annoying website.
So we're going to keep working on that.
We're going to keep working on that.
Every day we are getting better and better, and I feel like we're getting closer and closer to our goal and to being the Scarecrow that we know that we can be. The best Scarecrow ever.
Yeah.
And it's thanks to you. So once again, thank you guys so much for your support and for coming with us on this journey to now sustain our Scarecrow. So
yeah, great. Let's get to it.
Episode 91, let's go.
You've got to be kidding me.
What?
We're missing pieces here. Look at this poor cat. It's about to go snorkeling and everything too.
Sometimes you're looking around and you're like, you know what? Something's missing. And that's when you find that missing piece and you obtain it.
It's no longer missing.
It's no longer missing.
Wow, you really did. That was great.
That was good, huh?
I totally understand what's happening.
Yeah, so we're doing missing pieces, and this is a segment that we stole with our grubby little hands from Pure Cinema Podcast.
Hi, Brian.
Brian and Elric, their little segment where they go and find movies from either directors or actors. Just a little segment.
We blew it up.
And they find movies from directors or actors or another whoever that they like and love and enjoy, and they find something that they haven't watched by them or from them, and then they watch it. And so we're doing that today. And I want you to go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. I'm a big fan of the filmmaker Peter Hyams. I don't know if you're familiar with this guy.
Peter Hyams is a director and cinematographer known for taking full control over his films by shooting them himself. This hands-on approach gave his work a consistent, shadowy, and atmospheric visual style. He began in television news, which shaped his no-nonsense, practical storytelling. Rather than chasing prestige, Hyams built a reputation for solid, efficient, and technically skilled filmmaking, especially in sci-fi, thrillers, and action. While he's not a household name, his work, like Outland, Capricorn 1, 2010, and Time Cop, earned him respect for professionalism and visual clarity. His influence carries on through his son, John Hyams, who shares a similarly grounded, gritty style in modern genre films.
You might be because you're on Suspense is Killing Us with me.
Yes.
We've done a few of his movies. Peter Hyams, he was a great genre filmmaker in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. He's made tons of different kinds of movies. He did like Sudden Death with Jean-Claude Van Damme, or like Time Cop, also with Van Damme. He did Running Scare with Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines. He did Outland, which is awesome.
Yes.
He's done tons and tons of cool movies. One of the most notable things about most of his films is he's also his own cinematographer. And so I've always really enjoyed his work, and I found this early one of his that I had never seen. It's like his second feature. It came after his movie Busting, which is a really great cop movie with Robert Blake and Elliot Gould. And this is called Peeper.
Michael Caine and Natalie Wood in Peeper.
Peeper is like a private eye spoof starring Michael Caine and Natalie Wood.
What's your name?
Tucker.
It'll have to do, I suppose.
Oh, not necessarily. I could change it if you like.
It's written by W.D. Richter, who also wrote Big Trouble in Little China and some other stuff. And so, sort of tantalizing combination. Unfortunately, this movie's not very good.
Very unfair.
Sometimes with missing pieces, that'll happen.
But I have nice things to say about it. So Michael Caine plays this private detective. He gets hired by this dude to find his estranged daughter.
I put my kid in an orphanage 29 years ago. It was a nice place, trees, flowers, other kids to play with. I had to go away on business. You get the picture.
And he eventually tracks down these two women. They're both very rich, and he's trying to figure out which one of the two women is the estranged daughter. Because his theory is that she doesn't know that she's the daughter of this guy.
How exciting.
And it's Natalie Wood and another actress named Kitty Wynn. And that sort of spirals out into this whole other caper and, you know, bags of missing money, and there's like a cruise liner involved, all this stuff.
Take your bag for you, sir? It's all right. I'll carry my own.
Michael Caine narrates the whole thing in this very drawl, very corny voiceover that's full of little goofy puns and bad jokes.
I wondered which one was Anya. The iceberg with the Doberman seemed straight enough. The one who couldn't keep her robe closed spelled trouble. I didn't want her to keep her robe closed, and that was the trouble.
And he's kind of like a bumbling private eye. He's not like Inspector Clouseau or anything, but he always sort of seems to end up on the wrong end of things. It's very silly. A lot of the humor feels kind of forced. But it's only like 87 minutes long, so I wasn't in pain the whole time. It has this really goofy opening segment where instead of opening credits, a guy playing Humphrey Bogart who's like walking down an alley smoking a cigarette, and you can't see his face, but he's doing the Humphrey Bogart voice.
Yeah.
You know? And he says the credits.
Directed by Peter Hyams. He is looking at you.
It's very weird.
That's strange. Wait,
So,
what year was, like,
75.
when is the 75?
Yeah. So, you know, this wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen by any stretch of the imagination, but it wasn't horrible. And I gotta say this, Peter Hyams did not shoot this movie, although he shot most of his movies himself. He did not shoot this one. This was shot by a guy named Earl Rath, I want to say, who was a kind of a notable TV movie guy and did a lot of other movies around this time period. But it looks great. Beautiful Panavision cinematography. A lot of it takes place in the dark or at night. And it's very, very mysterious and like hazy, and there's a lot of stuff coming out of the shadows.
Back when people knew how to shoot in the dark.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, like, Earl Rath did a good job in this movie. He's no Gordon Willis, but it looks a little Gordon Willis-y. Anyway, if you're a Peter Hyams fan like me, for completism's sake, you may still want to check out Peeper. I can't really recommend it as a good movie, but I can recommend it as an interesting artifact. I'm glad I watched it. I thought it was pretty amusing, even though I was sitting there watching it going like, all right. You know, it serves its purpose very quickly. Like, you get the gist quick.
Right. But
anyway, I didn't hate it. Peeper.
Cool.
It was hot. You know, rich people never sweat. That's always struck me funny. They're the ones who can afford a lot of shirts.
All right, my missing piece is totally fucked up.
I guess you could say I'm totally fucked up.
By Greg Araki.
Greg Araki is a pioneering filmmaker known for his bold, queer, and emotionally raw films. A key figure in the new queer cinema movement, his work explores themes of youth, sexuality, and alienation, often with surreal, visually striking elements. Blending vibrant colors, dreamlike sequences, and edgy soundtracks, Araki's films prioritize mood and attitude over traditional narrative. While his early work like The Living End and Totally Fucked Up embraced low-budget indie sensibilities, Mysterious Skin earned critical acclaim for its sensitive handling of trauma. Though he remains rooted in indie cinema, Araki has also explored mainstream projects, including the TV series Now Apocalypse. His fearless, boundary-pushing approach continues to inspire queer and indie filmmakers today.
Criterion was having their 50% off sale. I had a couple of discount coupons in my email, so...
Coupons?
I say coupons.
No, I'm just
Is
asking.
that weird?
Is that what you mean?
I do mean coupons.
Okay.
I don't know. Weigh in the comments. Coupons. Whatever. I'm sure someone will make like a Linwood joke down there or something. So I got this in the Teenage Apocalypse Trilogy Blu-ray, which I got for a fucking steal of a deal at like $25.
Sick.
So good. Of course, Doom Generation is one of my all-time favorite movies, and Nowhere is very close, especially after seeing the restoration on the big screen at Fantastic Fest a couple years back. But I had not seen Totally Fucked Up. This is Greg Araki's first movie out of the trilogy, and it's from 1993. It's quite lower budget and very much more like more rough indie than his other ones.
I'm kidding, Sputnik. Yeah, sure. Sit on a Coke bottle and spin.
This follows 6 queer adolescents, they're probably like 19 or 20, in Los Angeles, and just kind of, follows them as they deal with their friendships and talk about life and relationships, sex, etc. It's a very 90s relationship indie movie. A lot of it is shot, it's shot on 16 millimeter. A lot of it's shot like camcorder style with them interviewing people. It does have a beautifully gorgeous baby James Duval in it.
Am I done?
He's just like so precious. It's constructed in 15 chapters, and it kind of just follows this group of friends in their life in LA, talking about who they're meeting, who they're hanging out with, how they are facing instances of gay bashing and violent assaults against the backdrop of the AIDS epidemic as well.
AIDS kills. It's that simple.
It's government-sponsored genocide.
They talk about that very frankly, and you could tell a lot of it is also improv. Compared to his other movies, it's definitely a lot more realistic. It has less of the kind of like fantastical, kind of bonkers elements that you see a lot in Doom Generation, a little bit in Nowhere, and a lot in his further movies out. It's definitely the seed for sure of this kind of new queer cinema that was happening at the time.
How about Friday?
I'm free.
Popular, aren't you? I think the Kamikaze Dildos are playing at the Hellhole.
It's kind of like a very gay, raw version of Reality Bites, but like more honest, I think. But it's
more
great.
honest than Reality Bites?
Why can't I get just one screw? Why can't I get just one screw?
Yeah,
I can't even imagine
Can you believe
such a
it?
thing.
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
I'm really happy to have seen this. There's only a couple other Araki movies that I haven't seen yet, and I'm just such a fan of his characters and the weird pop culture Los Angeles world that he creates, and the way his characters talk about just like how authentic his characters seem to be, even throughout all the weird disaffectedness and like the weird facade of LA and that kind of scene. So Totally Fucked Up, check it out, especially if you've seen the other ones. Just get the whole trilogy from Criterion. It looks awesome too. Check it out.
These teenagers, I think they're called like the Black Death Cult or something. They've gone on this like suicide kick.
What?
They started offing themselves, and the state officials don't know what to do about it.
I swear, people in Europe are such the posers.
We're getting in the swing of things here. I'm going.
Let's go then.
I'm gonna go.
Fine,
All right,
go.
you guys, I'm talking about 1963's Il Demonio from Brunello Rondi. I did not know that Brunello Rondi, who was a co-collaborator with Fellini on a lot of my favorite movies, including La Dolce Vita, did a woman possessed / obsessed / blessed picture. This is an awesome movie. Quickly became a 5-star for me. It takes place in a small religious village in southern Italy. This woman, played by Dalia Lavi, who is an amazing performer in this, is a woman named Purif, and she is kind of ostracized by the town because she's super hot. And she's very outwardly sexual and talks about her feelings and what she wants, and she's not necessarily super religious, and she dabbles in a little witchcraft maybe. And she's obsessed with Antonio. But Antonio is engaged, even though he had a one-night stand with Purif. She is now obsessed with him, and you know, she's cursing him. She has him like drink some wine that has a little bit of her blood in it, and she's following him around. And she's like, "Hello, you said you loved me. What is going on?" The townspeople are beginning to notice. Also, she's from a very poor peasant family, and they're kind of like, "Yo, like, you need to keep this under wraps because we don't want to be ostracized by the townspeople. Like, we're doing our best here. We're trying to survive." And she's just like spying on Antonio's wedding and like crawling through the caves and cracks of this like mountainside to like try to get him back. And eventually the townspeople are like, she's a witch. She's not going to stop bothering Antonio and his family. She's a witch. Like, she puts curses on people and everything. And she either, from everyone's attention calling her a witch, or maybe an actual possession, begins acting demonically possessed. This was the first instance of the spider walk that was later used in The Exorcist. You can definitely tell that possession, like Isabella Gianni's physical presence in that had to have been directly taken from this movie. Her performance is just like so physical and so mesmerizing / repulsive at the same time. Like at one point her family like digs a hole in the ground and like hides her in it so that the townspeople can't find her and like burn her on the stake and everything. So it's like half of her like trying to like convince this guy that he's in love with her, half of her like casting spells and shit and like running away from these townspeople, and it's all set against the backdrop of gorgeous southern Italy. Amazing movie if you're into kind of exorcism movies or women possessed, but maybe it's just because they're women type movies. Also just the 60s Italy, if you're into that too. This is a great movie for that. Such a great find. I'm so happy I found it. I want to check out this guy's other work as well as Dalia Lavi because she's just a force to be reckoned with in this movie. But check out Il Demonio.
Con la falce taglia le gambe alla morte, con la falce le lacrime taglia la voce. Con la falce sotto il letto, dal demonio sei protetto.
What's up, Matt?
So I got a documentary that I've been wanting to see for a long time, and it finally came out on a beautiful new 4K from, I believe, Canadian International, I think is the label. It's an OCN label. Not sure. Sorry if I'm getting that wrong. It's a documentary about sex workers in 1984 called Hookers on Davie. This is fascinating. It was made for 1904. It's I think it's Janice Cole and Holly Dale were the two women who directed this. It's shot on like very grainy film. It's a very simple documentary. It is just sort of an observer's perspective on all of these different sex workers that sort of inhabit this one stretch. And there are male, female, transsexual, all different kinds of folks are represented here.
There's so much traffic, no fucking money, I don't believe it. What is this, tourist season?
And it being a documentary about sex work from the early, mid-'80s, you are gonna have to accept a certain amount of what you might call political incorrectness. They use different terms that we would use now. The people involved themselves used words that we would consider slurs for themselves.
Yeah.
So it can be a little uncomfortable, but obviously you need to take it from the time it was made. The other thing that might trouble people watching this movie is that it is not really at all like a positive view of sex work.
Took me down to a parking lot. I was going out for a French. And we did Frenches in the car then. And all of a sudden a knife to the throat, do me for nothing type of thing,
It's very sad. It's pretty depressing. A lot of these folks are not doing this because they want to. They're doing it because it is sort of the only option available to them. They're ostracized by communities, not just because they're poor or, have substance abuse issues or have mental health issues, but because they're trans or they're queer. As bleak as things might look from our perspective today, they were much bleaker for folks experiencing those things back in the 80s, even in a relative socialist utopia like Canada. It's really difficult to watch people who are in obvious crisis in one form or another. They have nobody to reach out to but each other.
Anytime we have trouble with dates and we can't handle it, the queens will jump in. And they'll stick up for us like any guy would.
One of the positive elements of the movie is you get to see these people forming a community for themselves, relying on each other, fighting with each other, being angry, being happy.
Oh, is she ever adorable?
Oh, yeah, you need it.
Oh, yeah. Arrivederci, salut, bonsoir, ciao, in plain English, fuck off, I'm going to work.
It is a community. We're not just watching victims here. That's not the point. It also doesn't shy away from the violence that is inflicted on sex workers. There are many scenes of the film where the people just look right into the camera and tell you about a horrible experience they had where someone tried to hurt them or kill them or steal from them. Not just because there are dangerous tricks, but like some people are assaulted just because maybe the person that they pick up just wants to hurt you.
So I used it. And then, I'm sure it made them think. I've only ever stabbed 3 people in my life.
It can be hard to watch. I certainly got choked up a few times while I was watching this afternoon. But I found it extremely illuminating and also, ultimately, not just rewarding, but, hopeful, We also talked to one of the girls' mother who is, trying to be very understanding. And again, this is an old lady in 1984, and she is reckoning with the fact that her child has transitioned and become a sex worker. And, that's obviously very difficult for this woman, but we are getting a portrait of someone who desperately wants to understand.
How would you like people to feel about Michelle?
I know how a lot of people feel about Michelle. And I think the general consensus is, thank God he's not mine. That's the truth. A lot of people feel that way. Maybe perhaps their sexual upbringing was much like mine and millions of other people in the world that was non-existent. And they don't think that they can accept it. But there are times when you have to accept things. You've got to do it.
But also feels ambivalent and is scared, is afraid for her child. It's very complicated. It's unfortunate because this person is trying to express compassion, but is also engaging in stuff that we would call that dead naming now, things like that. It's very uncomfortable to watch, but it's also very rewarding to just see the shift in perspective.
Yeah, it's important context.
It's important context. It's an artifact, but I'm glad that it's been put out properly so that people can see both the progress that's been made and the progress that hasn't been made. This was a tremendous movie. It's very short. It's only about 85 minutes. You should absolutely check out this new 4K because the old 16mm documentary photography, it looks amazing. It's really something. It's a very, very cool movie. I would put this up there as a seminal work of queer cinema with something like Paris is Burning.
Cool. I want to check it out.
It's really cool.
Well, how much are you thinking about spending here? $20. About $20. Go down to Super Value. Get a pork chop and fuck that.
Aroo!
Oh, what was that?
Aroo!
I think that was a dog.
Maybe.
That means it's time for our dog movie. You didn't get one last episode. I bet you were real sad about it. But
we got a good one for you.
No worries.
What do we got?
We have Barry of the Great St. Bernard.
Barry of the Great St. Bernard.
1977, directed by Frank Zuniga.
This is A Wonderful World of Disney, so it's a TV movie technically.
Came out in 2-part special on NBC, and a lot of it is very educational.
The dog weighs nearly as much as the man, yet his feet do not sink in the snow like the man's, thanks to webbing between the toes of the forepaws.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this.
I thought it was kind of a slog, but I did learn a lot about dogs with jobs, which I do like. This one didn't go on a bus, but he sure climbed a mountain.
St. Bernard Pass, used for centuries to cross the Alps. Beautiful to look at, but full of danger and peril to the unwary traveler.
This takes place in Sweden in 1802.
And it's allegedly a true story.
Yeah, I did a little research on it that we can get into later. But this takes place at the hospice, where these monks live amongst dogs, and they're there basically to do what monks do, which is pray and stuff. But then they also save people. They save people when they ring the alarm.
Since the 11th century, when Bernard de Montfort, Saint Bernard, founded the order beside the mountain pass which also bore his name, thousands had been saved.
Yeah.
The alarm is rung, they save people with their dogs, because it's treacherous.
And we first meet Barry when he's born.
When he's born.
And he is a smooshy-faced little St. Bernard puppy.
I was watching and I was like, I would give anything to hold a St. Bernard puppy.
I know, right?
Like, wouldn't that, can you imagine?
I was watching this and I'm like, Lauren, come here. Look at this puppy.
Pretend you're a St. Bernard.
No, I just wanted to look at this smooshy puppy. He's very beautiful.
Oh,
He's a handsome boy and a good boy.
And they keep saying how he is the best boy.
You're a big one, huh? You open your eyes already? Good. Very good.
There's also a new guy in the place called Martin, and he's there because his parents. I don't know how old this guy is supposed to be. He's kind of a dumbass.
I think he's supposed to be a young man, but he looks like he's 35.
Yeah. And he's kind of stupid.
He's kind of stupid.
But he's there because his parents died in like an avalanche accident or whatever, and the dogs did try to save him, and he's there to work with the dogs and to get revenge on the mountain.
There's no revenge against mountains.
This is what the older guy, Julius or something?
Julius, I think.
Julius, you know you need more help. Why, Father? I never have before. Are you saying I'm getting old?
It's kind of like the rookie cop and the old retiring cop kind of vibe between them. He's like, I've never needed a partner before. And they're like, well, you're going to have Martin. He's a dumbass who wants revenge on the mountain.
Barry?
Martin and Barry bond very quickly.
The first thing that Barry saw when he opened his eyes was Martin. And they keep bringing that up.
When Barry first opened his eyes, he saw you. Only you. And ever since, you and he are inseparable. Are you still worried about that?
But Julius is like, you shouldn't like play favorites. Like there's a whole other litter. Like he's not like mean about it, but he's kind of like, these dogs are here to like do work, and you're kind of like
you're getting in the way of their job if you bond with them too close.
Yeah, you're too close.
Yeah.
By now it seems quite clear that Julius is right. They are too close, these two.
Come on, Barry.
They know it, and they revel in it.
Barry's just excelling in all the tests.
And he just keeps rescuing people.
He's so good at all of his little like skill tests and everything. At one point these like soldiers come and they're like,
because this takes place in like the Napoleonic times.
Yeah, they're like, in the name of Napoleon, we want to steal that dog basically and make him a war dog. And they take him, and Martin comes out and he sees the tracks and he's like, it looks like the dog's been like dragged away. But then like
Barry just shows up.
He just comes back.
We don't even see what happened. He's just like, I ditched those soldiers.
For a second, I thought it was going to be he comes back and like the soldiers are like in trouble and they all save the soldiers. Nope.
We just don't see those guys ever again. He just bailed.
He just bailed on him.
Yeah. Oh, fuck you.
They show like different cultural stuff too. Like they show like the summer fest where the whole village comes together and they do this little parade thing and like they're wearing all these different.
He's got the big Ricola horn.
Yeah. Oh my God, Ricola. Yeah. Remember? And then everyone's wearing those weird hats. It's the summertime. It's not as busy season for them to like, you know. But what happens in the summertime?
The rock's gone!
Rock falls. There's that rock sliding incident. People are just like falling off cliffs and like getting buried just like all the time.
Yeah.
To the point where this is a job they have.
They're getting buried for Barry.
Buried for Barry. This movie is just a bunch of different rescues that Barry goes on as he grows older into being like the best rescue dog.
Then one day Martin's attacked by a bear. That seems crazy.
He goes to rescue some guy. Barry goes back to the monastery or whatever, hospice, and he like passes a bear, and there's like a little tension between it and the narrator, because there's a narrator too, because it's wonderful, there's Disney, and the narrator's like, Barry doesn't have time for this now. And so you're like, that's foreshadowing.
Yeah.
He's going to fight that bear. And then later, Martin gets attacked by a bear.
And Barry fights him off.
Barry literally, and Barry's like not that much smaller than the bear. Must be a young bear.
And he's got like a big cut on him, and they have to nurse Barry back to health.
And luckily, Barry was wearing this collar because there was an incident with the bear before.
He's got a spiked collar.
Martin made like the first spiked collar.
To this day, the spiked collar made for him by Martin can be seen in the museum at Bern.
And then Barry has to carry milk casks on either side.
But the famed brandy barrel is a myth, begun by an English painter with a vivid imagination.
That's too bad, because I was really hoping somebody would have the barrel of whiskey in this movie. Then at the end, they're trying to save these refugees.
Yeah.
Who have been led by a bad leader through the mountain pass poorly, and they're trapped, and there's an avalanche.
Marty, look out!
And Martin is crushed by the avalanche.
Oh. And Barry saves a little kid.
Well, Barry saves Martin.
Yeah.
And they're taking Martin to safety. And the conflict through the movie has been like, is Barry too attached to Martin
to save other people?
And then they see a little girl who's like on this precipice, like she's in real trouble. And Barry leaves Martin to go save the little girl. And famously, according to the story, the girl climbs onto Barry's back, and Barry crawls back to safety with this little girl on his back. And basically, at the end of the movie, they get back to the hospice, but we find out that Martin passes away. He dies. But Barry continues to do his job, even though he was very sad about losing his favorite human. But he went on to save many more lives over his 12 years.
Yeah, he had 40 rescues.
Yeah.
So a little like cross fact checking here. The actual Barry lived to 14, so added a couple years on that. He did save a young kid. It was a little boy, but the story goes the same. Like he crawled onto his back and everything. They like taxidermy and Barry. And he's like in a museum somewhere. But for a while, until 1880, they called St. Bernards Barry Hounds.
I just heard something very interesting.
Something interesting? What?
Barry Hounds.
Barry Hounds.
Barry Hounds.
Barry Hounds.
Barry Hounds. Barry Hounds.
Barry Hounds. They actually did after this famous historical dog. Another thing I like about doing these dog movies is we do find out about like historical dogs that like have
we found out about the world's worst, ugliest dog.
Historical.
Yeah.
Balto,
that was real. And I also like the detail that at the hospice, they still named the best one of the litter every little Barry.
Yeah, they do. And they kept breeding dogs at the hospice until, I think I said, until 2004. And then they opened a new kennel like down the way that does to this day still have St. Bernards there. So yeah, it's very interesting.
I really liked this. I was sort of like a nominal 3 paws.
Yeah.
But when he died at the end, I got sad,
Yeah.
and that became a 3.5 paws.
Okay, I'm gonna keep the 3 paws. I almost feel like I would have liked it better if I had watched it in 2 parts, because I did felt like I was a little like but I did. I mean, the dogs were so good. It was pretty
Beautiful
gorgeous
animals.
setting.
Yeah, beautiful cinematography.
The cinematography was great.
Yeah.
The acting was extremely stiff. I think that's kind of what threw me.
It seemed like
they
it
were
was
like trying.
dubbed.
They were
It's
like
dubbed though.
I think it might be dubbed.
I think this was like made for French Canadian television, and then like
the
Disney bought it.
accents seem weird
Yeah.
compared to like the people. And gosh, Martin was so stupid. But this was, I mean, I never would have watched this movie
the conflict
without
about
this
did he want to
show.
continue to take his vows?
Oh yeah, there was the subplot of if he wanted to become a doctor and save lives, or if he wanted to take
the can and be a priest.
For a while, I thought he was going to hook up with that one girl at the Summerfest. I don't know, but there
we all
was no
wanted to do
time for that. But yeah, that was Barry of the Great St. Bernard, a little hidden gem. If you're a St. Bernard kind of person and want to learn more about him, this is a good one.
Or if your name's Bernard.
Why not? Or Barry.
Yeah.
Or Martin.
Or Saint.
Or Julius. Check it out. Next.
Another Disney feature.
We have a movie I kind of wanted to do. Bolt.
CG animated dog. John Travolta, Miley Cyrus. I love Miley Cyrus.
I'm excited for this. I feel like I heard it's not that bad, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. This is
Good
going to be
reason
fun.
to watch something.
This is going to be fun. Let me just say a little bit about it. Bolt is the star of the biggest show in Hollywood. The only problem is he thinks the whole thing is real. When the super dog is accidentally shipped to New York City and separated from Penny, his beloved co-star and owner, Bolt springs into action to find his way home. Together with his hilarious new sidekick, Rhino, Bolt's #1 fan, and a street-smart cat named Mittens, Bolt sets off on an amazing journey where he discovers he doesn't need superpowers to be a hero.
Sounds great. Can't wait. Let's
I'm
go.
actually kind of excited for it. So stay tuned. Not next episode, but the episode after that,
Yeah.
it'll be Bolt time.
But we will be back next week.
Yes, we will.
Barry shows a staying power remarkable in so small a dog.
All right, guys.
All right.
That was episode 91.
91 in the bag.
We need to make sure that you hit that like button.
better
Mash that like button.
Mash it and smash it.
Hit that like and subscribe. If you are watching this episode and you did not click the like button, you need to do that right now. It doesn't cost you anything, but it means a lot to us. You got to do it every single time.
Yes, do it. Say hi in the comments. Email us viva@scarecrow.com. Come visit our store if you are in town, or you can mail us 5030 Roosevelt Way, Northeast Seattle, Washington, 98105. Follow us on all the social media stuff, and keep watching movies and keep supporting Scarecrow Video because we're the best around.
Keep watching great movies, keep on rocking and rolling, and remember to sustain our Scarecrow.
Yep.
Hit
See you
that
next
link.
time.
Bye.
It is when his teammate loses interest that Barry proves he is not equal, but superior to all the others.